Hey guys, so it's been a little while since I did an update. It was last update I think was November, December time, just after Robot Ruckus. So let's start with what's in front of me. This is Slammer. This is the second chassis. So what I saw in the last couple of years of BattleBots is that the best prepared teams have multiple chassis options and chassis parts. Maybe chassis members, like just parts of it to build up a second chassis. But then there's some teams turned up just straight away with 2 or 3 chassis fully built and 1 fully populated. But the thing to do with that is to make sure that all of the bits and pieces fit and everything goes together as it's supposed to, and that's basically what I'm up to now. So I've got 1 chassis that's fully complete that needs to be tidied up and re-welded in places and painted, obviously. And this is the chassis that I've had out on display at Mobot headquarters up in Durham, North Carolina. So if you're in the area, go up and see the robots that are up there and see them. So what I'm doing currently with this chassis is I'm putting in the internals, so the drive motors, the weapon motors, the electronics, the batteries and stuff, just to make sure everything fits. One thing I've also got running, which you can probably hear in the background over there, is the charger. I've got some brand new batteries which fit just here in the robot, and they are going to power the robot. So we're going to go from around about 10 amps to about 12 amps, which is where I was at in Orlando. So yeah, hopefully that works out okay. The thing I've got to do is I have to remove this plate here, which you can't see. And let me try that, tipping it forward, just there. That is the plate that the weapon motor and weapon gearbox directly mount to. It's welded into the chassis, and it's fine. It's fine. The other ones are fine. I've just come up with a better design, and that is going to go on first. So that's been my first job today, is to do that. So I'm going to do that later. But in the meantime, I figured I'd just keep you updated as to where we are and what we're doing. So where are we? Well, we're building in hope that we get onto BattleBots. We have 2 of these. We have a second chassis being built for Whammo, and so we're getting there. Whammo got a lot of comments like it was just a repainted Apex, in much the same way that Foxtrot and Foxic were the same. They were the same but different, and Foxtrot was supposed to be the the version of Foxic I wanted to make, and it's basically the same with Whammo and Apex. So Apex being the one that was very much rushed and then made to work, and Whammo is the version of Apex that will work. It will do everything that Apex was supposed to. Design-wise, they are very similar. They're not identical. The same with Foxic and Foxtrot. They're similar in design, but not identical. So, yeah, there was more of a theme bot with Apex, and Whammo is kind of more tailored for structural strength and stability, which is something that we didn't really do in the initial design for Apex. It's something that it's got now, but yeah. So there have been some comments on it being basically the same bot. Not quite. Internally very different. Externally similar looking, most identical, some might say. But then again, you also have to remember that so Apex was 106 kilos, and I think Whammo is currently topping in around about 100, so there's still a fair amount of stuff to go. It has some anti-tipper wedgelets that go on the front. They're hinged, and they can't come up into the blade, but they do stop the robot from tipping forward. They've just been put on for the first time, so we'll see how much of a difference that makes. There is a possibility it might go 4-wheel drive. There is certainly enough space, and it's whether or not Chris wants to do that and put another set of motors and wheels in. He has weight, so we'll see if he goes ahead and does that. So the other thing is that I've got plenty of parts left over from Foxic, Foxtrot and Predator. In fact, each of those robots had enough spares to build it twice, and seeing as Slammo and Whammo are going away from that kind of internal setup. So that kind of internal setup is something that Chris and I worked on for quite a while, and it didn't quite do what we were expecting it to do. It didn't quite work the way we were hoping to. In testing, everything was wonderful and reliable and did everything we ever wanted it to do. And in the arena, after a few hits, it didn't, particularly against Death Roll. I'm going to come back to our fights last year and do like a run through of them and what happened and our explanation later. But I'll come back to that in a little bit. So I have all of these spare parts. I have enough spare parts for Slammo, Whammo, separately from the spare parts that I have for Foxit, Predator and Foxtrot. And the idea being that I'm going to make all three of those work. So I'm going to put new motors and controllers into Foxit and go to more of its setup that it had at Robot Wars, which worked great apart from that one thing that I didn't bolt up properly, which stopped it from self-righting. But we then went and got it self-righting and it worked beautifully. In fact, the weapon setup that was in Foxit is identical to the weapon setup that is in Slammo here. So the only difference being that it doesn't do that and lift, it just does lift. So it's brilliant. And I'm going to buy another gearbox and another motor for it so that we can go back to that setup. Foxtrot came out of BattleBots working. Like I said, I'll come back to the BattleBots explanations later, but I could put batteries in it right now and drive it around. Predator, again, another bot that came out of BattleBots working. Shame it didn't do that sooner, but whatever, you know. I have enough parts to turn that robot into a display model, won't they? That's what they'll all be. They're not really going to be combat machines. I just want to get them working, and I can do demonstrations and have them beat each other up and stuff like that. And they're also really good for testing Slammo against. I have a video of Slammo throwing Predator around. So Predator's chassis, bare chassis, weighs in around about 180 pounds because it's all steel, and a lot of the internals are very lightweight. So I filled it full of welding rods and nylon blocks and stuff, and I got the weight up to about 260 something pounds, so 263 pounds, and it was lifting it quite well. And I got it up to around about 180, so I got it up to about 280 pounds, and it was very good at lifting that. It was very much laboured, so I made some modifications. So that robot ran, or that version of Slammo was running a short mag motor, which I don't have here, and I'm switching over to a long mag motor, which is what I have to drive in here currently. So I have the space for it, but I need to make a slight modification, which does require me to change this plate here, which is why I have to change it. So yeah, I'm going to try and get the three Foxes working, which would be good. It'd be really great to have them all doing the same thing. And I'm not going to leave any kind of wrap on Foxtrot. I'm going to take it back to its original polished metal look, because I preferred that. However, I probably will go ahead and repaint Predator, but more in its original style of paint that it was designed with, which was grey, dark grey, white and black, so kind of more wolf-esque, because it's slightly bigger and more powerful than Foxit. So we'll see. The other thing that I've got going on right now is my YouTube channel. So if you're a subscriber, you've probably seen that there's been a regular series of updates. I'm doing lots of little videos here and there. I've got a challenge video that I'm starting, which you probably can't see from here, but it's right down here in the corner. That's currently on hold just for a little bit, because if BattleBots is going to take us, then we're going to know relatively soon, and I need to make sure that all of the robots and stuff are working first. And yeah, I got a bit overexcited when I got given all of the parts to make it. So I will come back to that if you're enjoying it. And yeah, this week I'll start cutting and welding and putting some of the bits in. So I've got 3 series that I'm going to run on YouTube. I'm going to do the challenge builds, which has already started, and I'm going to do a series called BattleBots Dissected, which is where I'm going to go into to start my own battles, talk about what happened, what went wrong, and a bit more explanation than probably the amount of time that you've seen on TV. There's quite a little backstory, particularly to the Death Roll fight. We were very lucky to just get into the arena for that one. And then the second fight with Mammoth, and then the third fight, which was a rumble with Double Jeopardy and Daisy Cutter. So that was pretty good. So BattleBots Dissected will go over my own fights, and once I've done my own fights, I'm going to go over some of the more controversial fights and talk about whether I think they got it right or whether they got it wrong. It's not going to be a review show, it's more going to be kind of like an explanation show. So the third series I'm going to do is called Combat Robots 101. And it's going to be a very, very basic, very, very simplified explanation of what goes into a combat robot and how to make your own. Combat Robots 101 is basically hopefully a learning area for people who want to be involved but don't know what they need to, because hopefully the sport is about to really, really boom. And yeah, I really hope it works out. So that's it from the updates. I've got one big thank you to throw in, and that is to Mobot. Now, the team has always been Team Danby, and whether it was under a slightly different name back when it first started, because I thought I was young and I thought that was cool, but we've always been a family team. And since Mobot has come along, they've allowed us to remain a family team, but have given us the backing to turn our family team into something more. And we brought in 2 new people. We brought in 2 guys from Bombshell last year, Randy and Jason, and with Mobot's support, we've turned our little family team into something hopefully extremely competitive. Proof of the pudding will be getting into BattleBots Season 5, so fingers crossed, right? That's it from me, and I'll give you an update as and when I can.